Hey, conservatives, guess what? You think queer is new? Well, I did some book learning. And there are 64 cultural genders, as in you must be a member of said culture to be the gender, that long predate white people shit. Who's crazy enough to count genders? This gal. So for my normals here, I run the website friendofgyms.com, and it's a trans resource website as well as non-binary, and now it's a gender resource as well. I realized the other day that you could really break up genders into 5 groups. So cis, trans, queer, non-binary, and cultural. And outside of cultural, there are 70 genders currently, at least that I could find, that you can be. And that's really cool because a lot of those are mix and match. You can be more than one gender. For instance, you can be just a gender, as I am, or you can be non binary and a gender, or trans and a gender, or non binary trans and a gender. It's a wonderful rainbow out there, and I swear to God, the conservatives are missing out. I mean, what could be more fun than learning who you are, learning you're not alone in how you feel? This little uh excursion, I guess, was based on I did a post about a gender day, and I mentioned that agenders often feel they're performing gender. I'm a gender. And like 3 people went, "What? Cis people don't feel that?" It's kind of like we all assume people picture things in their mind just like we do. Until very recently, no science even asked about this. But for instance, when I like close my eyes or I'm reading a story, I can see a picture. I can sometimes hear the voices of like characters, if you're reading a story. I can really get lost in the world. And then there's people who don't picture anything. And then there's the other flip of it. When you think of things, do you think, I'm going into my bedroom? Oh, I gotta do this. Oh, well, my best friend should do this and that. Or do you think, huh, some people, they don't narrate their thoughts at all. Some really narrate. I think I'm more in the middle. I was just like, because you never question this, and human beings are absolutely fucking fascinating. So, for the record, 3 of those groupings tend to overlap a lot. That's non binary, queer, and trans or transgender. So it's a really cool thing to look into. I mean, I'm not going to claim I wrote tons and tons of pages about each gender. I left that to the gender wikia. Is that it? Uh, but what inspired me about it was, you know, people always act like, oh, those filthy trans, they're queering all the kids. And it's like, girl, you don't even know how many genders there are. For instance, and if you're cis, this might really rock your world. There are 23 chromosome combinations to make gender. We've always been told it's 2, XX for boy, XY for girl. Nope. And we keep discovering more and more, so 23 might not be the final number. So that's where like female athletes who present as assigned female at birth, they have vagina, they have periods, breasts, they look feminine, and then they're told through sex testing, very sexist, racist, transphobic, that oops, you're not a real girl, sorry, you can't compete. I mean, can you think of anything more devastating? Because people don't just usually roll up to the Olympics and go, gee, I think I'd like to try this. It takes years of practice to even get in the spot. In places like India, I read the story about one of these people who was abandoned by this. If you did a sport good, you can move from your rural village where you lived in poverty. Your family would be given money. You'd be given money and world class accommodations and housing because you're good at, say, running. And then all of a sudden you're disqualified. That all goes away. Yeah, it ain't right. So it was very interesting to me to do all of these because, especially in non white cultures, as I mentioned, There very heavily has always been a third gender, at least. Some have up to five. Many have at least two. There's only a handful of genders you can be culturally that you may not be born to. Like, well, no, intersex you'd be born to. There's the Jewish tum tum. You could convert to Judaism and be that. You may not know you're autistic or neurodivergent, and you find this out, and then you can be ought to gender. See, I haven't even said these words out loud, so I'm like, So most of them, though, you have to be born to the culture, like the the Maui for Hawaiian and Samoan. Many indigenous cultures, including two spirit, into queer. You can't just be that if you're a fucking white ass person. I don't want to hear about Cherokee great grandma princesses. That's just very embarrassing for everybody. Okay. So, unless you have a very close family member who is either known to be of a tribe or is a tribal member, don't do that. Unless you're adopted into a tribe like Eartha Kitt's family was, for instance. Okay, then you could be that. But general non-indigenous people cannot be these things. And there's been a really gross culture appropriating two-spirit because it sounds so twee. No, unless you're indigenous, you cannot have that term. And yes, they don't even like it necessarily. They have way better words. But you can't have it. They don't, no, they don't want you to have it. You cannot have it. It just does not work that way. I'm sorry. White people had two terms. I forget the second one, but a Molly, as in queer person, was from the 1800s. You can be a Molly if you want, okay, but you can't be a two-spirit. Otherwise, white people really missed the boat on this fun, at least through the years. I imagine pre-Christianity, it was a lot cooler. Because there's a whole nother section on genders that no longer exist because they're from ancient times. That you could probably throw in another 20 genders if you want. So it's a really cool area. And so I did my best to kind of summarize, give good links. Yes, there's some Wikipedia copying for the tables, especially on the many indigenous cultures, but they link to the right areas. And I just hope this really is a great resource for people. I've also added a safety button on the bottom. I don't like that it doesn't say safe out. If you're, say, on the site and you're not safe to be on the site, you need a quick exit. You just click this little pink button on the bottom right and it'll take you to Google. So I'm very proud of that. I really should have had it all along, but the website's pretty new. It used to be a card, and that was pretty much the same stuff for like a year. So I will continue to update, and I love input. I mean, I feel like as I'm not a non-binary person or a trans person, someone who is could correct me if I've gotten anything wrong. I try to stress that, this is my best interpretation, and like in the instance of agender, which I am, these are my opinions because agender is a pretty loose definition. In fact, I'd almost say the queer area entirely for gender. Those are pretty loose. You could be almost any of those just if you feel like it. So it's a really cool thing. I hope y'all look into it, and I hope I queer a few more people because, come on, we're having fun over here. It's almost Pride Month.